Welcome to the Deep Dive.
Hello.
Today, we're doing something a bit different. We're actually going inside a language lesson.
That's right. We've got our hands on some actual class notes. These are from AcademiaBSB.
Right.
From an English conversation course, group T243. And the date on these is June 16th, 2025.
And this is for CEFRL level A1 learners. So, folks who are really building that base.
Exactly. Probably nearing the end of A1, pushing towards A2. Working hard.
Definitely. So these notes, what do they cover? Looks like reflexive pronouns are a big one.
Yep, that's central. But also related stuff, vocabulary, some pronunciation pitfalls, and expressing ability, like to know how to.
Okay, so our mission here is to kind of unpack all of that.
Yeah, pull out the key ideas, make them clear, maybe give you some useful takeaways for your own learning.
Like getting the highlights of the lesson.
Precisely.
All right, so where do we start? Looks like vocabulary is up first in the notes. Makes sense?
Absolutely. Gotta have the words. It's, fundamental.
The building blocks.
The notes just list them, probably discussed with examples in class. We see words like male.
Okay, male, like the opposite of female. That is a male bird. Male.
Right. Then happy, feeling good, cheerful. Learning English makes me happy.
Old, not young. My grandfather is very old.
Old.
Right?
Smart, intelligent, clever. She is a very smart student. Smart.
And rich. Having lots of money. Wealthy.
Yeah. He hopes to be rich one day.
Rich. Okay, those are core adjectives. What else? Sunscreen lotion.
Yep, practical stuff. You use it at the beach. I need to buy some sunscreen lotion.
And there's this pair
Yeah.
to get pregnant, leading to have a baby.
Yeah, showing a process. Cause and effect.
Like after they get pregnant, they will have a baby next year. Get pregnant, have a baby.
Learning these connections is super useful.
For sure. Even basic words like these, they add so much to what you can express, right?
Totally. It's not just knowing the word, but how it fits, how you use it.
Okay, next section in the notes, pronunciation guidance. Always important.
Crucial. Getting the sounds right means people understand you better. Sometimes one little sound changes everything.
Yeah. So they look back at words from a past class. We see colleague.
Colleague. Yeah, that silent "g" at the end trips people up. It sounds like league.
Like my colleague helped me with the report. Colleague.
Exactly. And Christmas.
Right. The C is a K sound, like Christ.
Not she, like chair. We sing carols at Christmas. Christmas. Good ones to practice.
Okay, then current class pronunciation. Looks like some contrasts here.
Yeah.
Leap versus lip.
Ooh, yeah. The long E in leap versus the short ooh in lip. Big difference.
You don't want to mix those up. Be careful not to leap over your lip.
Definitely not. And then has versus was.
Two super common words.
Very common, but that vowel sound, has with the short A, what is more like was.
So, he has a dog. She was here yesterday. Has, was.
Practicing those distinctions really helps.
What else? Learn. That ooh sound.
And world. That one's tricky for lots of learners. World.
Draw with the ah sound. And Thursday?
Yeah, the and the Thursday. Lots of potential challenges there.
Maybe a sentence to practice. We learn about the world.
And we draw pictures on Thursday.
Is that artist famous? Learn, world, draw, Thursday, famous.
Yeah, saying them clearly in context is the way to go.
All right, moving on. The notes have a section on language usage. This looks like practical phrases.
Yeah, the kind of expressions you need for, actual conversations to make things smoother.
First one, classic.
Super useful. Getting attention, apologizing briefly, interrupting politely.
Excuse me, can I ask a question?
Exactly. Then could you repeat that?
Oh, essential for learners. Don't just nod.
Right. It shows you're trying. Sorry, could you repeat that, please?
That's right. Good for checking.
So the meeting is at 3. Is that right?
Confirms understanding.
I like this one. Don't make a fool of yourself. A bit informal.
Yeah, it's like a warning. Telling someone not to be silly or embarrassing. Use with care.
Okay. And then some common pairings. To have fun. Yes, you have fun. You don't make fun usually. We always have fun together.
To take a break.
You take a break, not do a break. Let's take a break for coffee.
And to feel good.
How you feel. Exercise makes me feel good. Learning these chunks is key.
Should we try a quick exchange?
Yeah, let's do it. You start.
Okay. Excuse me. I think I missed that last point.
Oh, sure. I was just saying we should take a break soon.
Okay. Is that right? A break sounds good.
See? Using them makes the conversation flow.
Now for the grammar. The notes flag this as the core of the lesson.
Yep, the structure underneath it all. Two main things here. To know versus to know how to, and reflexive pronouns.
Okay, let's tackle to know versus to know how to first. What's the main difference there?
It really comes down to information versus skill or ability. To know is for facts, information, knowing people, places.
Like, do you know his name? Information.
Exactly, or do know London. Familiarity.
Got it. So to know how to is?
That's about ability. Having the skill to do something. It's always followed by a verb.
Ah, okay. Like the example, do they know how to cook? That's asking about cooking skills.
Right. And the answer, they know how to cook, confirms the ability.
Or the negative, I don't know how to cook, lack of ability.
Precisely. So remember, know plus noun, person, place, thing, fact, information, know how to plus verb, ability.
That seems clear enough.
Okay. Second big grammar point, reflexive pronouns.
Right, the self in self's words. Myself, yourself, himself, herself, itself.
Ourselves, yourselves, themselves, and the impersonal oneself.
So what's their main job? When do we use them?
The main use, rule B in the notes, is when the subject and the object of the verb are the same person or thing. The action reflects back.
Okay, like they enjoy themselves, they're doing the enjoying, and they are receiving the enjoyment.
Exactly. Or a command like behave yourselves. The action of behaving comes back to you.
I hurt myself. I did the hurting, and I received the hurt.
Perfect. But then rule C has an important exception, right? With body parts.
Ah, yeah, this one gets you. You wouldn't say I wash myself hands.
No. If the action is directed at a specific body part, you use a possessive adjective. My, your, his, her, etc.
So I'm washing my hands. He cut his finger. She hurt her knee.
Right. Use the reflexive pronoun if the action is general to the whole person, like he cut himself, we don't know where, but the possessive if it's specific to the part.
Okay, that distinction is vital. What about Rule E, emphatic use?
This is different. Here, the reflexive pronoun isn't the object. It just adds emphasis. It means that person specifically did it, maybe alone, or it highlights their importance.
Like, did you build this yourself? Meaning, without help.
Yeah. Or the director herself called me. Emphasizes it was the director, not an assistant.
Got it. And Rule F, by oneself and on one's own.
Both basically mean alone or independently.
I like to travel by myself.
Or I like to travel on my own. Same meaning. Good to know both forms.
Okay, so reflexive pronouns show action back to the subject, unless it's a specific body part, then use possessive. And they can also add emphasis or mean alone.
That's a pretty good summary. Mastering these really refined your English.
The notes then shift gears to reading practice. Looks like a text about Leonardo da Vinci.
Yeah, a classic figure. Reading is so important for seeing everything together. Vocab, grammar, flow.
Okay, I'll read the text as it appears in the notes. Leonardo da Vinci was born in Italy in 1452. He was one of the world's most famous artists. But he wasn't only an artist, he was also a great scientist. Leonardo started learning art when he was 14. His teacher was Verrocchio. Verrocchio taught him painting, sculpting, and drawing. Leonardo kept notebooks all his life. He had 13,000 pages of notes and sketches. He drew plants, animals, and the human body. He also drew ideas for inventions, like bridges, water pumps, tanks, and flying machines. He didn't build most of these inventions, but his drawings were amazing. Leonardo da Vinci was one of the most brilliant people who ever lived.
Wow, quite a life. So the text hits the key points. Born in Italy, 1452. Artist and scientist.
Trained with Verrocchio.
Right. And those notebooks. 13,000 pages, incredible detail. Sketches of nature, the body, inventions.
Flying machines, tanks, way ahead of his time.
Totally. It concludes he was brilliant. Reading texts like this builds vocabulary in context and comprehension. You know, understanding who, what, when, where.
Yeah, the notes probably had questions like, where was he born? Or what does brilliant mean, to check understanding.
Exactly. Standard reading comprehension practice.
Okay, next up is writing. The task mentioned is writing about your weekend. 60, 80 words.
Yep, time to produce the language. Writing helps organize thoughts, use the grammar and vocab actively. It's a different skill from speaking. Slower, more deliberate.
The notes even show an example from a student, Anna Paula. A first draft, and then teacher feedback. That's really useful to see.
Oh yeah, seeing the process is gold. The teacher points out strengths, clear sentences, using the right tenses.
But also areas to improve, like flow, maybe word choice. The notes mentioned put on my clothes. Perhaps could be get dressed. Punctuation too.
It shows that writing is iterative. You draft, you get feedback, you refine. The goal isn't instant perfection, it's clearer communication.
leads towards a better final version.
Exactly. And nearby in the notes, there's another text, Love on Thursday, the story of Weverton.
Ah, I saw that.
It seems to use some of the lessons vocabulary like famous, world, Thursday, lip, leap, draw, and past tense verbs. So it serves as another example of narrative writing.
And that same story pops up again in the speaking training section.
Makes sense. Speaking is where it all comes together. The words, the sounds, the grammar, the flow can be daunting.
Practice is everything, right? Helps build that confidence.
Absolutely. Reading aloud, like this Weverton story, is great practice for articulation, for linking words, getting the rhythm.
Okay, let's try reading a couple of sentences, like learners might practice. Nice and clear. You go first.
Okay. Weverton was not famous in the world, but for his fiancée, he was the best man ever.
On Thursday afternoon, he gave her a small kiss on the lip and made her heart leap with joy. You can hear the emphasis on those key words.
Mm-hmm. He drew funny faces on paper when she felt sad, just to see her smile.
Focusing on pronouncing each word clearly helps make those patterns automatic over time.
Definitely. It bridges the gap between knowing the language and actually using it smoothly.
So that brings us near the end of our deep dive into these A1 class notes. We've gone through vocabulary,
Pronunciation points,
useful phrases for language usage,
the core grammar, know versus know how to, and those reflexive pronouns.
and seen how reading, writing, and speaking practice integrate everything.
Yeah, understanding those grammar structures, like when an action reflects back using myself or themselves, or how know how to signals ability that provides the accuracy, and the vocabulary gives you the tools.
The notes also mentioned class stats, things like vocabulary growth, oral fluency.
Right, we don't see the numbers, but the idea is that tracking progress helps. Seeing improvement, maybe in something like a phonetic deviation ratio getting smaller, that's motivating. It shows the practice is working.
Absolutely. And like good academic practice, the notes include bibliographic references.
Yeah, pointers for more info or practice, like maybe a link to exercises on reflexive pronouns or verb patterns. Learning doesn't stop when the class ends.
And then give a peek ahead. UP Coming Linguistic Scope.
Mm-hmm.
What's next for this group?
Looks like to be able to and the possessive case.
Okay, so to be able to.
Yeah.
It's another way to talk about ability, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, she is able to speak 3 languages.
Exactly. Similar to can or know how to, but slightly different structure. And possessive case.
That's showing ownership, like John's car, the company's policy.
Precisely. Really fundamental for describing relationships and belonging, logical next steps for building complexity.
You know, looking back at all this, it really highlights how language is built piece by piece. Every element, from a single word to a grammar rule like reflexive pronouns, helps you express yourself more clearly.
It really does. And every bit of practice, whether it's learning a word like happy or figuring out when to say myself versus my hand, it all adds up. It builds your ability to connect.
It's not just about memorizing rules, is it? It's about using the language.
Exactly. It's about communication. That's the ultimate goal. As the school motto apparently says, and it fits perfectly here, it is not only about the language, it is all about communication.
A great thought to end on. Keep learning, keep practicing, keep communicating.